Okay, so nothing about Wi-Fi 10. This is all real. It's happening right now. What I wanted to talk about this afternoon is this topic of network assurance. It's becoming more and more talked about. We deploy Wi-Fi networks, we use Wi-Fi networks, and we need a feedback mechanism to make sure that those networks are delivering on the things that they were designed to do, and what delivering to avoid users becoming frustrated. The users often don't have the capacity or patience to tell us exactly what's wrong. So this is the reason why this network assurance is needed. So we've just been through a couple of real and a couple of non-real standards, but Wi-Fi is always moving. Wi-Fi is constantly evolving. Our habits have changed. So since COVID, a lot of us are now sort of full-time hybrid workers. We sometimes go into the office, we sometimes work at home. This is a way of life that has changed the use of Wi-Fi. And also now there's more faith in and more need to have our critical applications on Wi-Fi. They've got to be there. We've got to do business. We need our Office 365. We need our Zoom calls, all those kind of things. So we need to use the Wi-Fi. Just popping down to this last point here. I think 10 years ago I was trying to work out the last laptop that I ordered that had an Ethernet port on it. They don't have wired ports on them anymore other than for charging or USB. So we've got a lot of new players on the block. IoT devices, they're becoming very prolific now in terms of door sensors, movement sensors. These devices just put extra load on the Wi-Fi. They will consume airtime. So there's a lot of other things going on, not just the fact that the standards are moving on. So I don't know whether you've heard of Gartner. Gartner is like the go-to advisor for enterprise worldwide customers. Gartner sort of gives hints to what's going on, and what they've really sat down to do is talk about in this report here the future of Wi-Fi, the fact that our IT needs to be working 100%. When it's not working, our productivity goes down, and also let's use this thing called automation. So, we've got buzzwords flying around earlier on for AI. Automation is another one. In its simplest form, automation is just a way of making our life a bit easier, so we don't have to do something because something's doing it on our behalf. So Gartner's saying pretty much the same thing about this world in which we live, that we need to have more robust IT. So let's talk about the known subjects, the specialist subjects that we're familiar with. We've got the Wi-Fi site survey, spend a lot of time either predictive or active, AP on a stick, whatever. Takes up time, and we come away and we feel like we've done a great job. This is all good. And then from the survey we deploy our enterprise-grade APs, high-quality APs. They're costly items, but they're robust. They've got the compute power to do what we need. And then we take a little bit of time, we build our golden config, we get our coverage for primary and secondary. So everything's super robust, and that's great. But of course, then we still have the fact that users are getting frustrated. They're contacting the help desk, they're chewing up cycles for people who are trying to run the network, so they're reacting, and it's souring the user experience. And how they report it, it's always Wi-Fi sucks, doesn't it? Because they don't, it's the thing that's blocking them from doing their work. That's the real problem. And I put up an iceberg here because what they're saying is Wi-Fi sucks. They just see the top piece of the iceberg. But below, we really need to understand what's involved in that. What are they trying to tell us? And the reasons why there might be some issues. Some of these topics have already been pointed out already, And I would agree with things like the coverage, RF coverage, authentication, getting on the network, are they allowed to get on the network? These are all considerations. This is all below our waterline for the iceberg. And the internet plays a big part now because Office 365, Google Suite, Zoom, Teams, they're all cloud-based solutions. We're seeing less and less of on-prem solutions for the office environment. And of course, Wi-Fi has a set of challenges now. We have intermittent issues are always the ones that take the time. Is it working? Well, it is now, but it wasn't working yesterday. Roaming issues. This is a big one. This is the one. Client devices are not tied into the standards in the same tight way that the APs are. So the interpretation of when a client roams is really down to whichever piece of software that the device wanted to run on there. And we've got video. Video is a big player here. When voice and video synchronization issues happen, lip sync issues, it's frustrating and it kind of dulls the effect of our video call. And then again, I'm pulling out the fact that the internet plays a big part. The internet speed, should I say? So. We've got various tools that we can choose from before we go off the site. We can have a cursory look at what's going on. And the sort of things that we're looking at are the rich dashboards that we get now. Meraki's was a real leader in making the graphical interface far more compelling, far more full of information. So as a network engineer, we're looking at that dashboard and we're seeing, okay, from this point, looking out, everything looks fine. I can see my clients. But of course, down here, the users are sitting. They're on like the other side of the wall, looking back, and they have a different perspective of what's going on. And there's various different types of clients being used, each with various levels of diagnostic capability or not. And so we've got kind of a disconnect here. We've got the fact that the network says one thing and the client is saying the other. Who's right? We don't know. We have to really have a solution that plugs that gap. And what we want to do is basically have a solution where we are the client. We are the client testing the network. So we get that feedback. We get that feedback from the network, the performance of things like our video traffic for Google or Teams or WebEx, how that performs. And also when you're on the client device, you do understand what's going on. You can really understand, because you're involved in the client itself, why that unique client decided to roam or not roam. So what I'm really calling out is the fact that we want to spend less time over here, because over here it's all manual, it's reactive, it's jump in the car, it's time consuming and costly, and it's exhausting. So why not spend some more time being more proactive, using some automation to run tests on our behalf. So always testing that the speed of the internet is there, always testing that your network can handle and effectively give good throughput to things like video traffic. So this is where I get a bit better on you. So YBot is the one that has this solution. What we've done is we have a cloud-hosted dashboard, and we have two ways that we can get the feedback from the client side. So we have a hardware sensor. I think Citron's got one of these at the back. Our hardware sensor has 3 radios in it. One of the radios is a client, so that's doing our client testing, that's our automation. And the other 2 radios are listening to the strongest signal where the sensor is deployed, because that's what the client's going to do. They're going to go to the strongest signal. And on the other side of the equation, we have an agent. So we're working on an agent which we're just finishing off, which is going to be tied into Intel. So it's a collaboration with Intel that we've done. It means that we're talking directly to their chipset. So we're not talking to a Windows driver, we're talking straight to the chipset, and we can find out information directly from that. And I'll talk about each one of those in turn. So for our corporate environment, where we have carpeted offices, where people are coming in from time to time into the office, maybe a drop zone where they find a desk and they open up their laptop, we have the sensor. The sensor is designed to be permanently deployed, and being permanently deployed, it's constantly able to evaluate the quality of the Wi-Fi in that area in terms of being able to test going out to the internet with speed test, or maybe Office 365, or it could be video traffic, where we're able to test the video performance, and we can identify jitter and latency on those kind of connections. And then also our monitoring radios are able to pick out through AI engine which is identifying a pattern of 802.11 frames, and then offering a potential solution. So for example here we can see too many APs are on the same channel, or maybe we're not making the best use of the 5 GHz spectrum because we're bonding them up, or maybe we're not using the DFS channels. So our sensor is able to constantly run different types of tests. You can program them in there, repetitive, and basically tick the box for all our user applications that we need on a daily basis. As well as doing that on the Wi-Fi, it's also able to do it on the wired infrastructure, which means you have then a comparison between, okay, did it work on the wired network as well as on the Wi-Fi network? So now for our hybrid user, the people that they're in the office some days, and then when they go home, they're on the wild west of Wi-Fi. We don't know what they're on. They're on consumer-grade products, maybe at their own house. So what we've done is we worked with Intel. In fact, Intel approached us to do a collaboration. So we're tied into any laptop that gets shipped with Intel chipsets. Unfortunately, that means not the AMD ones, but anyway, the thing is, what we've taken is a subset of the functionality of the sensor and put it into our agent, which means that we're able to do a lower level of testing, but constantly testing the network that the user is on. So whether they're in a cafe in the street, or whether they're on their home network, or whether they are in the office, from a central side, we are still able to get that feedback mechanism and still understand what they're progressing with. So it's an installer, straight installer, and what it offers, once the agent is installed, we're now able to do a collection of the tests that we do on the sensor itself. Now we're doing it on the client. We don't want to burden the client, so the intensity of testing is slightly less. But we're able to do device fingerprinting and information about the MAC and the IP level, and then our telemetry. So the classic one was, why is that client roaming? Now the way we present our agent is in cloud-hosted dashboard. So our devices are deployed with the agent. I'm just looking at one of them at the moment. So again, you can see here this concept of issue detail, where non-standard beacon detected. Well, okay, that's information that may be relevant to what's going on with this client. You can see the results of their tests. So we've got an application test running here. We've got a ping. We've got speed tests running, and also the number of networks. Now, this is someone who's in probably a WeWork office where there's 60 odd Wi-Fi networks, but it does happen. And here's our device fingerprinting. So when we click in further, we can understand a bit more about this client. We can see their OS version, the home version of Windows 11. We can see the chipset, so it's AX201, the Intel chipset. And then we get some information about any roaming that's gone on. And then further down here, we've got our IP information versus both IP version 4 and 6. But the stuff that we need for troubleshooting, which is unfortunately where we often end up from time to time, is available in log. So here you can see all of the things that this client has been doing, what's happened, what signal strength it's got. But here's your information. Why is it roaming? Well, it found a better AP, or well, actually it was the OS that initiated the roaming. This is like the crown jewels of the frustrated Wi-Fi engineer trying to work out what's going on. So finally, maybe I'm running a bit early, but we get to have a coffee again. Information. So our information is available. We have a YouTube channel, so you can follow and see information, webinars, and also how to configure the product. We have a wiki site that we're working on here. And then just to sort of finish off a bit about the company itself, so we are an American company based in Boston. Our founders are from Colubris Networks, if anybody remembers that name, who then moved on to HP, and they just, through the frustration of sending people like me to site many years ago, we wanted to build in the sort of features that we needed to avoid people going to site and consuming time and effort. So the design goals were plug and play, were functionality, and so ultimately the WiBot solution is giving you that sort of a 24/7 Wi-Fi assurance. So as human beings we need to start and stop, but this sensor or this client agent goes on and on, testing all the way when we're not necessarily awake. We are a subscription-based solution, so what we do is we offer a Wi-Fi network assurance subscription that includes the sensor. So if, for example, the incumbent network is on a refresh and they move up to 6 gigahertz, then because you're signed up with WiBot for maybe 3 years, then WiBot will say, well, okay, we will ship you the new 6 gigahertz equivalent of sensor, you ship the old one back, and no extra money passes hands. So it's not one of those models where you buy a piece of hardware and then it becomes redundant because and you pay for it as well as a subscription. So that's where we are. So that's it. Thank you very much for your time. Any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, man in the back.
Yeah, there are several solutions like this, right? The 7 signal, and you got HP,
yes.
You got WiBot.
Yes.
Why would I choose WiBot over that?
Well, I don't want to knock anybody, but UXR, you have to buy the sensor, and then you take a subscription for 1 or 3 or 5 years. 7 signal is a great solution. It's very powerful, but it's also very overwhelming, I would say. It's quite complex. They will sell it to you and they will say, well, 10% of the cost is that we set it up for you. One of the design goals for WiBot was plug and play. This sensor, you plug it into a switch port, as long as it's got PoE, things start happening, the sensor will build a tunnel out to the internet and out to the dashboard. So I think, what I feel with UXI is that it's at one end of the spectrum of graphical look and feel, and then you've got 7 signal at the other, and then somewhere in the middle I feel that that's where WiBot plays. Nice clean UI, not too complex, doesn't suddenly flip from being really easy to really being complex, it's consistent.
And can you if you buy it and you assign it to a customer and the customer leaves you or whatever, can you pick that one up and assign it to another customer, like likewise, or?
Oh, okay, so what one of the business models that we like is an MSP model. So we sell to an MSP and then they sell on the solution as part of a value-add package. That's kind of a sweet spot for us. We would definitely like to work that way. There's no reason why WiBot can't be procured where you have maybe extra sensors to have them as reacting tools. And I have come across companies that use them almost as a survey tool. Not to say there's no Wi-Fi there, but maybe they're doing an upgrade. So they will ship one of their own sensors out there, and that way they know the SSIDs, they know the AP vendor, all this kind of thing, without even leaving their office. So there's different ways of doing it, but ultimately the real value is continuous testing, monitoring all the time. So when someone says, hey, Teams is not working, you look at your test results and go, well, okay, I have seen some issues, but actually they happened yesterday. And they said, and perhaps, like all these things, the help desk answers the call, but not necessarily at the same time. And perhaps someone might be saying, well, it's working now, it wasn't working yesterday. But I can see that on speed test. We had a dip, you know, the throughput dropped down slightly.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay. Right. Back to you, Mark.